Okay, everybody, thank you very much once again for showing up. This is our bi-weekly Zoom Mastermind. And for those of you that join us every couple of weeks, you know that this is our opportunity to get together as a group, as a community of like-minded agents. We want to share ideas. We want to push each other to be better. We want to talk about things that are relevant to what we're doing in terms of accelerating through the growth curve. And one of the best ways that we have available to accelerate through the growth curve is to utilize a concept called leverage. Okay, and for those of you that, which I think most of you are involved in some way, shape, or form in my coaching, you know that we talk about leverage a lot, right? In terms of utilizing our time. And so today we are going to have a great lady with us, Miss Aleta Reynolds, who is going to talk with us a little bit in more detail about the whole concept of what does it mean to use human assets, right? And we don't use that term in a derogatory way. We just mean that it is a human being that we are bringing into our organization to help us grow, and they play a very vital role. And there are some mistakes that can be very easily made along the way in terms of the hiring, the training, the integration, or the retention of somebody that we want to bring into our organization. So Aleta is going to share with us today some things that I think you guys will find very helpful, whether you already have somebody in this role and you just need to make their process a little more efficient, or if this is something that you see yourself needing to add as time goes on. So I guess without any further ado, Aleta, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and just kind of share with us what you have prepared.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on. I own an ISA company. And if you guys want to, if any of you know how to do this, you can raise your hand. And if you have an ISA, or if you've ever hired an ISA, just raise your hand on Zoom and keep it up there. There's a point and purpose to why I'm asking. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. Sometimes I get into a room of agents like yourself, and not everybody knows, what an ISA does, or what an ISA is supposed to do, or what an ISA means. And I've been developing the ISA role for the last 7 years. 10 years prior to that, I was an active real estate agent. I was born into the real estate community, with Mike Ferry scripting and cold calls. And I actually made 𝗥𝗲𝗶𝗴 cold calls and circle prospecting for my team. I was a buyer's agent, and I would go in and start my morning with cold calls to set appointments for my broker. And then I would go off and, work my buyers. So, I love it. And in fact, he got me to join his team by prospecting me. I was a 𝗲𝗏𝗏 at the time. And I said, if you tell me what you did, I will take my license off inactive and I will join your team. I loved it from the moment that I got cold called or prospected myself. So, since then, it's an essential piece of leverage to any type of sustainability or growth within our real estate businesses. And Joshua and Alejandro, I see that you guys have your hands raised for having an ISA. I don't know if you guys are teams or solo agents, but having an ISA is invaluable to you being able to do your one thing, which is to go out and service your clients while appointments are being set for you. Mm-hmm. Now, Joshua and Alejandro, I'll just pick on you guys because you're in the front of my screen. Keep your hand raised if that ISA role was just fireworks from the very beginning. You never had any problems whatsoever. Keep your hand up. If you had struggling points with an ISA, you can go ahead and put your hand down. And most of the time, by the time I get introduced to you guys, you've had so many ups and downs with having an ISA that it becomes a huge frustration. And the reason why is because it's still this mythical creature. It's a unicorn of our industry of, number one, how do we find this person to make calls for us? Number two, what are the expectations and accountability? And number three, how am I supposed to help them get to my closings and my production goals that I've set out with my coach? So, we fast forward through 7 years because that's really when I started developing my call centers, that I wanted to be the essential piece of leverage that real estate agents around the nation needed. And now, when I look back and I see where I'm at now, I have 60 ISAs that, start on the East Coast and we go to the West Coast. We start at 8 a.m. Eastern time. We don't stop till 8 p.m., Hawaii, Alaska time. We set on average 150 to 250 appointments a day, and that's a mixture of lender appointments, buyers appointments, in-person seller and buyers appointments, and then also live transfers. So we're doing it at a really high level, and we're not only doing it white label, for some of our coaching programs and whatnot, but we're also doing it on behalf of teams like yourself. Now, the reason why I'm coming here to talk with you all is because for the first time ever, I'm actually showing you guys how you can have your own ISA, not just hire for services, because there's nothing more powerful or more valuable than for you to have your own internal VA or ISA. Whether they come into your office or whether they're, working from afar, they're logging on and learning you and working on behalf of you. And there is nothing more powerful. There's not a single more powerful piece of leverage with sustaining your current production or increasing your production, that any one real estate agent or team can have when it's done right.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking that as you're talking, Aleta. So what, if you had to pick the number one mistake that you see agents make in this whole process, what would you say that has been?
It's really the accountability piece of holding your VA and your ISA accountable to their hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly goals. Okay. An ISA or VA that's not working time on task, even for 1 hour out of their shift, will cost you 5 hours a week, which is 20 hours a month.
That's right.
And that starts to cost a lot of money. And so, not to say that you have to be a slave driver, right? But we set expectations. And also one of the unicorns of the business is, well, if they're dialing on expireds versus opt-in leads, what's the expectation for my ISA? Or if we go to VAs, well, if they're doing content creation for YouTube versus Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, what's my expectation for what they should be able to do in a day or a week? And what should I be paying for that? And I found that I didn't have a resource to go to when I needed it for my own company. Everybody talks in generalities of, oh, well, yeah, go hire somebody. Oh, don't pay more than $3 an hour. Don't pay more than $9 an hour. Don't pay more than minimum wage. Oh, they'll get to it when they get to it. Or, oh, they should be doing 10 videos a day for YouTube. Well, that is completely impractical.
Right.
And so the only way that I really learned what to expect was to not only take my own valuable time and watching them, doing side by side with them, with the people that I would hire, but then also going through my own failures, my own mistakes of hiring the wrong person. And that's what I want. That's what I'm rolling out March 1st, is to not only show you guys exactly how to do that, but then also give you the tools, that you need to make the right hire the first time around. Or at least, if we do flub up the first couple times, we're getting closer to the end goal.
Yep, exactly. So again, just guys, and for those of you that, again, that don't have your cameras on, if you're able to do that, put your cameras on so that we can see you guys. But how many of you, again, either currently have either a VA, and sometimes, these terms that get thrown around, right? And the way I've always thought of it, and Aleta, you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always thought of as an ISA as somebody that's more phone-based, more prospecting-based, more appointment setting-based, whereas a VA to me is more of the administrative, the support, the marketing, stuff like that. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. So how many of you right now, guys and gals, have or are planning to have an ISA or a VA in your business? Just raise your hand. I want to make sure we're on the right page here. Okay, good. So most of you, several of you at least, have your hands up. So I guess, Aleta, what would you say? And again, unfortunately, we're always limited by time, right? But for you, what is the most important part or message that you want everybody here today to really take away from this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, you guys have already shown that you want to have more from your business to either sustain growth or achieve more growth because you've hired your coach. And you couldn't have chosen a better coach for your business. Now,
you say that to all the coaches, Aleta.
The one part that most coaches can't help with is specifically an ISA role. Now, they can help onesie twosie, but for them to take the time to really micromanage your ISA role, which is why it's a separate department, which is why I've been able to thrive for the last 7 years with laser focusing on, this is my one thing. My one thing is the ISA role. Can I show you how to write a contract? Yeah. Can I show you how to do a listing presentation? Yeah. Can I show you how to show a house? Yeah, I can do all those things. But the biggest thing for me is to show you why an ISA is so important and how to do it correctly. So if I was to say anything, or for you guys to get anything out of this, is to, take advantage of some of the training that James is able to give you as far as getting an ISA department or one for yourself, now that we have it. And let's help reach those big goals that you guys set at the beginning of the year. through having that leverage done properly. It'll save you a lot of stress and frustration. But then also you'll be sitting there, December 2022 going, James, we did it.
Amen. Yes.
We doubled down on our business. I mean, you hire an ISA the right way the first time around, they're responsible for 36% of your closings. I mean, hands down, no questions asked. And that's without an accountability manager. So don't correctly think about if anybody in the room wants to increase their business by 25% this year, the one hire they can add in is an ISA and, over exceed that.
Right. Absolutely. So I know you have a lot of things that you can talk about and maybe wanted to talk about. So what else do you really want to make sure you share before we maybe open up for some questions or get some more interactive dialogue going, Aleta? I want to make sure you have time to go through everything that you felt like you wanted to share today.
Yeah, we can open it up to questions if anybody has them. And I know you probably have some other topics and whatnot that you want to explore. The best way for me to really be able to know where to go is where you guys have already been. Lead source matters, CRM matters. If you don't have a CRM or a lead source, you'd probably want to get that first. But either way, we start March 1st. It's a 4-week course and you're going to learn a lot. So even if you're not ready to hire an ISA, I'm going to help you get that foundation set up. But we can certainly ask some questions and you guys can keep me on for as long as you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, all right. So a couple of things. And again, as I'm kind of looking at the group here, I know quite a few of you have, or again, are planning to get some form of leverage, right? And I know for some of us, part of the conversation is, do we start with somebody who is going to come alongside us and maybe go through our database? I know for a lot of my clients, they have these enormous databases of people that they very rarely get to touch or interact with. They have no idea what's in them in terms of, potential deals. So I guess, Aleta, since that is a pretty common thing that I see, what would be an example of something that you could show these people how to do to take advantage of 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 people that are just sort of stagnating in a lead pool somewhere? What are some things you've been able to do to really extract business out of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if having an ISA isn't in your immediate budget, or really adding on any more right now isn't in your immediate budget, what you can do is you can start dropping campaigns to them. The most powerful thing to do is to get your CRM integrated with a dialer. I prefer Mojo. Mojo Dialer is one of my absolute favorites, and it's very affordable. You log it on there, you push the data in, and you dial for dollars, right? You get the people that are raising their hand. You do a very basic 5-point qualifying script. Even your buyer's agents or yourself can do this. If you're really scared of the phones and that's not really your one thing, then I would say sending out a campaign that's customized. Hey, I'm sure you've heard what real estate prices are doing. Do you have any plans to buy or sell this year? Even that through a text or email campaign, very simple to everybody in your database, you're going to get people to respond. But the most powerful thing that you can do is to dial through, call them, introduce yourself, say, we'd worked with you at one time, we'd spoke with you at one time, planning to see what your real estate plans are for 2022. Do you have any plans in buying or selling, in the next 3 to 6 months that I can help you with? Okay. And, go from there.
And again, for some of, for a lot of agents, they may not have the time to do that personally, which again is where we come back to this whole thing of having someone that is trained to do that. So yeah, that's a very common thing that you do, right? Is again, because I know a lot of agents are looking at this pool and they're saying, well, I'm already busy over here with my A clients, with my, my current business, but I've got this thing over here that I feel like has a lot of potential. So just as far as
and even when agents do send out a massive campaign or text message, they don't have the boots on the ground, so to speak, to even respond to those people.
Right.
And that's where really through that leverage of, if you're building a team, then, you can have your internal buyers agents do that. But honestly, you need to have that ISA. You need to have that person. And if you can't go through the stress or frustration or wherever you've been in your ISA journey and hiring your own right now, we do offer services. But the point and purpose to me launching March 1st with the ISA coaching and training is to help you have your very own ISA Alex internally. Perfect. And so what I would really recommend is don't wait any longer and don't subscribe to more leads. That's the last thing you need is more leads. Save your budget, save up for the course. I mean, I'm only charging $4.99. It's a 4-week course, and you guys are getting some discount codes that, really help take the edge off as well.
Right. And that's not, is that just strictly for ISA, or is that for utilizing a VA as well? This course?
Yeah, so through the course, we're going to talk about the VAs. I will have a specific how to hire a VA, later on down through the summer, but your ISA can double as a VA. Okay. I tend to find that it's more important for you to have an ISA and you build out the campaigns that you want sent. You need to get your hands in your database. You can't hire somebody and say, build me out a real estate campaign that's going to be the look of how people perceive me in my community. You need to have leads generated. And honestly, most CRMs come with preset campaigns that anybody can put your logo to, and you guys can send them out. But to really get that leverage, an ISA would come first. I don't see too much value in having a virtual VA getting all your campaigns tuned in to leads that you can't respond to.
Right.
You don't have anybody there. You're creating more of a bottleneck to your system by starting with VA. Perfect.
Okay, so in the chat, Leah had asked Aleta if you have a preferred lead gen system / CRM. So what have you seen? Again, there's lots of tools, lots of systems out there, but as far as your perspective, what do you feel like really makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It really depends on if you're a huge team, you're a solo agent, or a small team. Number one, through your coaching program, if Coach James has favorites that he knows that can coach you through, that's going to be the one that's going to be the most invaluable, because you're going to be able to utilize him as a resource. And the reason why I say that is because when you're using a CRM that your coach knows and you say, hey, I have Follow-Up Boss, but I can't for the life of me figure out how to fix the retargeting mechanism in there. And he knows Follow-Up Boss. These are real problems that are keeping you from your goals. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why you've hired a coach is to help you with that. So I would go off of your coach's top 2 and not go anywhere else, because there's a reason why your coach loves those ones. But then I'll also say that depending on where you're at in your journey, if you get a free CRM from your brokerage that you own, like 𝗏𝗄𝗀, Commissions Inc., Follow-Up Boss, not a broker owned CRM, but one that you own. I would go with that one, because a CRM is really the best one, is the one that you use. I mean, that's it, and it's not going to cost you more money to use it. But our big teams, we like Sierra Interactive, we like Commissions Inc., we like Boomtown, we like Chime.
Okay. Now, Leah, when you asked about a lead generation system, what did you mean, like a source like Vulcan or Mojo or Redx? Is that what you were asking, Leah?
Actually, Kenny wanted that question.
Oh, okay.
I just wrote it.
We just talked to a guy from 𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶. We've had Commissions Inc. now for 5 years, and it's the first time we've heard of this 𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶, and we heard from another agent. He liked it. So, and we have. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just going to say we also have access to 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 through EXP. So. We didn't know if we should switch, stay with Commissions Inc. or what.
Questions. Absolutely. First of all, Commissions Inc., you're not going to find a better platform that keeps you safe, because their dialer is only going to dial leads that have 100% opted in. So you're not going to get any do not call issues. They've opted in through your website. They're going to retarget those leads for you. Their system is set up that way. If you're having any issues with your sync leads to where you're getting a low contact rate or a bad number rate, Steve over there, or your rep that you got your account through, they just need to fine tune your pay-per-click, and that's well worth the hour that you'll spend with them. I've done that with several clients where we sit down and we really look at their landing pages, their call to action, and their keywords. Just like if the price points or the areas aren't fine tuned or seasoned, it's good to look at it once a year anyway, just to make sure in case you're expanding into areas. But Commissions Inc., they really keep you safe. They have a great way of doing things. I think that an ISA working on your behalf, they'd be able to just do an add-on as a user. And they also integrate really nicely with Mojo, which I really like for you to go through your huge database quarterly. And it's only going to, they have a single line dialer as well, right? But for you to really go through some data, or to go through your expireds or FSBOs or circle prospecting at a high level and push them into sync, it's very easy to do that. Brevity for us is a little bit wonky, and I hate to use that word too often because I love the creator of Brevity. Ben Kinney over there, he's a phenomenal pioneer in our industry. I really, really have some great things that I think and like about him. I don't care for the lack of integration, and I don't care for the lack of training on Brevity. And I do feel like Brevity does the same thing that Commissions Inc. does, only Commissions Inc. gives you a lot of support and integrations that are really nice. Their landing pages are just loved by Google. Brian Short, who is in my opinion, one of the best with the pay-per-click leads. He does a very good job with Commissions Inc., Chime. So if you hire someone independently, not to say that Brevity you can't, I just, they're not as out there. It's a good system. I think that it does have a few more steps to do the same thing. So for an ISA perspective, it's a little bit, cumbersome. 𝗲𝗄𝗃 now, when they transitioned from conversion, they had a lot of issues. So if you had 𝗲𝗄𝗃 even 2 years ago, you have a totally different 𝗲𝗄𝗃 now, and we love them. They're retargeting, their ability for Facebook leads and all the lead funnels, their presets for campaigns, even the ones where it's express offers, you just push a button, it goes out to people. Their single line dialer is great. I like to use 𝗲𝗄𝗃 as a separate funnel from Commissions Inc. because if you're going to do anything with Facebook, I do believe that their creators just really nailed Facebook leads. And as you expand, let's say the beauty of EXP is the expansion model, right? So as you bring on partners in other states and areas, you guys can actually combine your 𝗲𝗄𝗃 accounts and share referrals seamlessly, which is really nice. They make it really easy to have an expansion team with different individual branding. So the quick answer, I would say I wouldn't get rid of Commissions Inc. until you learned 𝗲𝗄𝗃, but I wouldn't trade either of them for Brevity. And the leads that you funnel into both can be the same, but you already have a really good reputation with Commissions Inc. And I feel like they have a really good product that keeps people safe.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, see why I like Aleta. She's got it dialed in, man, and all this stuff. This is great. So also a question about the ISAs. Where are they from? Because this is a very common question. A lot of clients, a lot of people on the line here today have ISAs that are offshore or overseas, and there's a process for that, and that can definitely work. But how do you approach that, Aleta?
Yeah, so if you can get a local ISA that knows your area, that even used to have a real estate license, but they don't so much want to be an agent, and you can afford to pay them, that's going to be your best bet. And I do have ads, I have places to attract that kind of talent. I even have interviews for specifically that position. They already know real estate, they're already local. There's a huge learning curve that you're just avoiding.
Yep.
A lot of the problems is that even minimum wage doesn't fit our budget. And the expectation of the pay structure for an ISA, depending on what sources you're going to, I go into a program and they say, don't ever pay an ISA more than $8 an hour. Well, I mean, gosh, minimum wage in places is 15, so you have to pay them at least that minimum wage. But there's also an issue of employee versus independent contractor. So when you're hiring overseas, you tend to avoid that whole complex issue, and you tend to get them at a more affordable price, especially when you're growing. It takes a lot of time on task to get your ISA seasoned to work on behalf of you. And that 90 days, depending on what your budget is, could really sink your ship if you're paying them $15, $20 an hour.
Right.
Versus $5 to $9 an hour. So we have ISAs that are anywhere from Costa Rica to Dubai, to the Philippines, to here on U.S. soil. We're completely cloud-based and virtual. I actually sold my last brick and mortar call center about 2 years ago. Actually, it was just before COVID really got bad. And I've been completely virtual. I'll tell you, my payroll went down 30%. So yep. I'm never going back to in person. But the accountability tools that we have virtually, I don't see a need to. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So you can have someone that works from home or your office. I'll tell you that the out of country ISAs do much better with an evening shift and a day shift than the American based do. For some reason, when you have an American-based ISA dialing from 4 to 8 p.m., their dials are down, their contacts are down, their quality's down. And to get them to come to work consistently from 8 a.m. would be great, but typically you don't get them until 9 a.m. until around noon. It just, to me, the quality is not there in general, right? But having the right person and holding them accountable, it can work.
Yep.
It really can. So
Okay.
I think it's going to have to do with the individual team. And I go through all of that. There is a way that you can hire an ISA out of the country that's going to represent you in a nice way. But there are also places around the country that even somewhat of an accent and you're going to turn people off. You know, you can't dial in some parts of, you know, the South and have any type of accent. You just can't. You can't get away with it.
Yep.
Whereas you dial in Washington, it doesn't matter, you know? So.
Right, exactly. A couple people, or at least one I see, had a question about 𝗦𝗏𝗶, and I know a lot of you utilize 𝗦𝗏𝗶 with various CRMs. So any thoughts on that real quick, Aleta?
Yeah, 𝗦𝗏𝗶's retargeting feature is spot on. You know, G and Howard over there, they really did a great job at their retargeting feature. I'll tell you, after they got Raya in, I have a problem with their quality of Facebook and pay-per-click, but it's not impossible to go around. If you have 𝗦𝗏𝗶 and you're not getting a good contact rate, and by that I mean, for every 10 people you call, I want 6 to 7 of them responding to you via text or over the phone. And if you have anything less than that, you need to get a meeting with your 𝗦𝗏𝗶 rep and get that targeting fine-tuned, because Raya actually messes with their Facebook forms. And it's not impossible for them to work around. It's just, you know, they have templates that are pretty rigid, and the lead quality went down. So 𝗦𝗏𝗶 though is fantastic. I love how you can upload things in their system and they can retarget it all.
Yep.
It's invaluable for you to really work all of the necessary work, you know, through you exhaust your leads to the highest level with their retargeting without needing more manpower. And that's invaluable.
Okay. All right. So before we have Aleta kind of go through and just give you a quick overview of this other course and the discount codes, because that was one of the things that got me kind of excited to bring her on too, is that she's offering some pretty cool discount codes for anybody that wants to be a part of the program that she's put together. But I want to make sure anybody else who has questions gets a chance to ask questions too, because this is obviously a person who knows her stuff. So who else has some questions about this whole thing? Anybody? Mr. Nick, go for it.
Hey there. So we hired an ISA internally back in October. She's doing great. And the class that you have, is that designed for, you know, myself or team leaders, or is that something that we could plug her into, as the vision really is to put her at the head of the, you know, the ISA and the sales team, and then expand over time?
Yeah, so her, what would be best for her to take her time on would be April 1st. We're doing the ISA Alex training. So the training that we put our ISAs through, she could be a part of. Okay. And even if she has experience, or, you know, you feel like she's doing a fair job, our specific no nonsense training will help her build at an advanced level, or really fine tune some of the foundational things that she may not have ever known about, or really just strengthen those skills. We don't delay or stall too much time, you know, on dragging it out, right? Just the way that we train ISAs, it seems to be pretty proficient. So I would say we should plan on enrolling her April 1st, but then yourself or your sales manager to join March 1st would be invaluable, really, for accountability features there, and then really some bottlenecks that you guys might already be facing. I can talk through some of those bottlenecks to help you overcome them, or set the stage for adding on more volume.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Carlos, do you have your hand up, Carlos? Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
No question. Sorry about that.
No worries. Who had a question?
I did.
Who's I? Sorry.
Leah.
Oh, Leah. Sorry.
Leah.
There you are.
Sorry. I didn't know if you could see me. I can see you fine.
No, I see you now.
Aleta, I don't know if I missed maybe the description of the training that's coming up on March 1st.
Perfect.
I got a little, yeah, if you could describe what the training is all about, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. So it's implementing the ISA model. And I am working on rewording that to how to hire, train, and retain your ISA, because I think implementing the ISA model is more of our terms, like behind the scenes terms. But essentially, it's the same thing. It'll go through 4 weeks. And I can actually read the first week off to you if you'd like. The first week, are you ready to hire an ISA? Bottlenecks to be aware of, the ideal support and team structure to hire into, and why you'll need an ISA to sustain growth. And then week 2, we have how to hire and train the right ISA the first time around. I even share some ads and marketing and whatnot that I use, places to put your ad, whether you want a VA or a local person, by being mindful of a budget, the expected schedule for the highest contact and conversion rate, and a suggested pay schedule. So week 2 is really all about having that in mind of, okay, when I'm ready to hire an ISA, you're going to leave with how to structure the ad, what schedule you want them at, what pay structure you'd entertain. And based on experience or not, I go through all of that really in depth. And then week 3, it's design and post your ad. And then we talk about what other positions you'll need to plan to hire into. We go through your CRM and lead flow, if you have a CRM, if you don't, and some of the issues that you may or may not have with your lead flow. And then how will you hold your ISA accountable with daily, weekly, and monthly reporting? And I do share our accountability spreadsheets. And my spreadsheets also track their conversion based on data source. Are they lender appointments, buyer's appointments, seller's appointments? So buyer, seller, lender, are they pre-approved or not? And my whole entire system of jot forms to Excel spreadsheets to a results tab is all given to you guys as a template. So we can train your ISA into that come April, and how to input their data. And then on week 4, it's how you'll hold your ISA accountable long-term, goal setting for success, tools and knowledge you'll need to know for the long-term success, and some warning signs to bigger problems. So if you're about to spring a leak, what does that look like? And then just some trusted solutions on fixing them. And all of it will be recorded. So as you hire an ISA, you're going to want to revisit it. This is really just having you think about or put some thought into what does your business look like before you hire an ISA.
Yep.
Not to say that you have to have it all in place, but it's a good starting point. And then from there, April, we'll do training the ISA. And then come May and June, we have advanced ISA and advanced team building. But my course of implementing the ISA model restarts again, involving Q&A every other month. And then we do ISA training every other month.
Okay.
So,
a couple people asked about your website too. If you want to just drop that in the chat box, Aleta, for those of you that want to connect with her or her team that way. And then Sarah asked these courses that you're talking about. Again, group, one-on-one, live, Zoom. Just what's the format, I guess?
Yep. So we're gonna do a live Zoom. And I've entertained the idea of meeting again sometime after that first week of just Q&A. So time blocking myself to be available for an hour as you guys have questions after the course. I will have an hour of Q&A after the original content. But really this is the first start of me doing it at such a high level to where I'm opening it up to all of the agents, around and through coaching programs. So there's a lot that I'm going to learn as far as what you guys need, but hopefully by the support of your guys as coach and being able to just be available for Q&A, I can fine tune this, the presentations and the information and how to share it with you all.
Beautiful. Okay. And okay, so for people that want that, I know you have been generous to offer some different discount codes and stuff. So maybe just kind of share with everybody how that works if they want to get involved, what some of the things that are available to them are.
Yeah, absolutely. So as long as you're enrolled into Coach James' coaching program, you guys get all of my events and training courses at 50% off. So we have mindset coaching, we have back to basic agent coaching that a different type of coach would host a week. And then we also have the ISA coaching and implementing the ISA model coaching. So all of that you'll get at a 50% off discount. And then if you look at the ISA services, just in case hiring and training and retaining an ISA isn't for you, or you just need it by project, if you look at hiring an expert, the prices that you would get if you're in network would be your prices. So you'll get a discount off of services. If you're enrolled in coaching and you're also enrolled in the events, we'll honor some other discounts for ongoing services. But really, I'd love to see all of you guys at the events and really trying to get an ISA in your company, because it's invaluable, and it's really worth the learning curve, and it's really worth, getting through a few hires if you need to have your own ISA, Alex, there working on your behalf.
Okay. And again, you always talk about a certain number of appointments and things. I mean, what are the examples of results, I guess, that they would expect, adding into their business?
Yeah, if you have a full-time ISA, they should be setting at least one appointment an hour. No questions asked. If you have Vulcan 7 that's already been dialed through a couple times, I'd say one quality appointment every 2 hours. But that's also accounting for your notes, your CRMs, your text messages. I mean, when we dial through Vulcan 7, we'll call the same number 2-3 times, then we'll text and email them. So one attempt on a phone call could take, 2.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, Follow Up Boss, Chime, Commissions Inc., 2 appointments an hour, because you have to go through a conversation, note taking, putting the appointment on your calendar, to where they could set more if they weren't engaged in a quality conversation and doing what needs to be done to get you guys set up for your appointment. We're talking about arranging their property searches, making sure that the property could be shown, getting the appointment on your calendar, calling you, confirming that you're available. There's a lot of legwork that goes into a quality appointment. Even a live transfer with your lender, would take them off a task. But if they're actively dialing, I don't like to see a dialer running for more than 30 minutes without people answering the phone and engaging in a conversation. Okay. There's too good of quality of data out there to even deal with that nowadays. Even Red-X on a triple line dialer will get somebody to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Beautiful. So again, before we wrap up, anybody else have any other questions? Anybody else have anything that you want to kind of share? What are some takeaways? Maybe we just open it up too for things that maybe you guys realized having this conversation today. Don't be shy. We're in sales, everybody. We talk for a living. Okay. So Sarah asked, what is the code used at checkout? So how does that work as far as the 50% off?
Yep. Just go there, and it's going to ask you for your coupon code. You'll enroll and just put Coach James. And right now you can pay with PayPal or your credit card. And I'll have Venmo set up by the end of the week, and crypto. So you'll be able to pay with your cryptocurrency as well by the end of the week. So I'm huge into the tokenization space, but let's focus on ISAs.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. And that's through the website, right? Where the signups occur, right?
Yeah, and the one that I'm talking about, it is the pop-up. So when you pull up the website, the one that pops up is the one that you would want to enroll in.
Okay. Okay, excellent. So
Tuesdays at noon Central.
Say that one more time, Aleta. What is it?
Sarah's asking for the days and times.
Oh, got it there. Yep. Glad you're paying attention to the chat box.
And Sarah, I don't have the Q&A scheduled, so there's going to be another opportunity every week to meet with us as a group for Q&A after the Tuesday course. There's a conflict on Thursdays, and I was thinking that if I did it on Wednesdays, it would be a little bit too much. So I was actually hoping to see what the coaching schedules are with Coach James before I set up a Q&A so that it could accommodate your guys' schedule with him as well. Because sometimes we just start meeting too much. It's too much meeting and not enough closing and converting.
Yeah. I am a big fan of that. I actually switched this to bi-weekly last summer because for a while I was doing these masterminds every week, and it was just getting to be a little too much.
Yeah.
So Leah asked dates and times again, one more time.
Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central. So that'll be 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And they are recorded, you said?
Yes. Yep. They're recorded. And then by May, June, they'll be in Kajabi. And so anybody that, of course, enrolls can access them in Kajabi. But then your coach and I spoke, we spoke yesterday to provide the recording to you guys so that you guys can have it on hand. And I'd be more than willing to do that. But you will have access to Kajabi. It's just a work in progress once we record it to get it uploaded.
Right.
I'm hoping that I can have it YouTube, but then it's available to everybody. So I don't really want to do that. That's not fair for those that took the time to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Bryce asked, do you have a menu or a list of services for VAs? Which I know you and I had talked about a little bit. Is that ready yet or not yet?
It is. Yep. Just going to hire the expert, and you guys
okay.
will get the network price as long as you're enrolled in any event.
Okay.
You guys get a network price.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay. So here's the thing, everybody. First of all, definitely appreciate you taking some time with us, Aleta. You are a wealth of knowledge, seriously. And that's one of the things I love about chatting with you. So I hope for all of you, whether you're at a point where you know this is where you're headed, you're doing it, you maybe already started it and you're just kind of fine tuning it. Or again, if this is something that's down the road, my purpose, my outcome for you guys today was that you at least come away with a little more believability in the process, that it can be done. It can be done smoothly. It can be done efficiently, profitably, and that you now have a great resource to turn to for when that time is right. So again, Aleta, thank you very much for your time. Does anybody else have any last questions before we wrap up today? About any of this, as you're thinking about it, reach out to me, or you can certainly contact Aleta and her group, and they'll be more than happy to spend time with you. So.
Yep. Just let me know that you guys are a coaching student of his, and we'll be taken care of. All
right. Thanks again, everybody. Have an awesome rest of your week, and look forward to hearing from everybody. Okay. Thanks, Aleta. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Somebody